Trump's 2024 running. Guys, this is big. Donald Trump's 2024 running mate decision and the jaw-dropping assassination attempt that nearly rocked the United States nation, folks. I hope you guys are ready. Tucker Carlson's bold move and a very shocking twist. Tucker Carlson personally urged Donald Trump to choose J.D. Vance or possibly face consequences from the deep state. Do you guys know anything about this? If you don't, you will. Tucker Carlson's dramatic phone call from Australia warned Donald Trump that selecting a neocon like Marco Rubio or Doug Burgum could incentivize United States intelligence agencies to assassinate him to get their preferred president, folks. By the way, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video if you really appreciate the truth. Morath, no, I do not need sleep. Ron Yates does not sleep. What's going on, John Gardner? Appreciate all of you guys in the live. We got Keenan Ripon. What's going on, brother? Where is my girl, Catalia? I'm looking for you. Where you at? Where you at? What's going on? So the intense VP race, according to the New York Times, Donald Trump's VP selection process was a chaotic battlefield. Powerful figures. We're talking like Rupert Murdoch, Kellyanne, Conway launched campaigns against Vance, pushing for alternatives like Governor Doug Burgum. Meanwhile, we got influential supporters like Elon Musk and Donald Trump Jr. rallied behind J.D. Vance, with Elon Musk calling the Trump-Vance duo beautiful. What do you guys think about J.D. Vance, guys? I know Donald Trump had a lot of folks on the list in terms of who he was thinking about for his VP pick, but what do you think about J.D. Vance? I mean, we got to get behind him or maybe not. I don't know. Y'all let me know. The assassination attempt on Sunday of Donald Trump, a shocking assassination attempt, unfolded at a Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. A 20-year-old gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, fired multiple shots from a rooftop, grazing Donald Trump's ear. We are lucky to still have Donald Trump with us here. The New York NYPD has since increased its presence in New York City and NYC, and Melania Trump, who rarely attends public events, is expected to appear at the GOP convention in Wisconsin. Now, security failures exposed. We're going to talk about that. This particular incident has exposed colossal security failures from the FBI, from the Secret Service, from local police officers. In fact, the building that Crooks used was supposed to be a police watch post. Guys, I cannot make this stuff up. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Experts and former snipers are questioning the Secret Service, they're suggesting that the shooter wasn't there by chance. What do y'all think? Was the shooter there by chance? How in the world could the shooter be on top of the very people that are supposed to be protecting Donald Trump? Was this an inside job? Now, former snipers, Dallas Alexander and Representative Corey Mills, are raising serious concerns about the lack of perimeter surveillance. Massive communication breakdown. Witnesses saw Crooks on the roof and alerted police, but their warnings did not reach the command center. Former Secret Service agents like Tim Miller, Charles Marino, they're calling this a massive communication failure. The Secret Service director, Kimberly Cheadle, admitted, quote, "The buck stops with me," end quote. But critics are demanding her resignation. I mean, it's cool. I get it. Kimberly is accepting responsibility, but is that enough, folks? I mean, Donald Trump almost lost his life the other day. Multiple shooters? Well, witnesses are coming out the woodworks. I mean, all over the place. Witnesses claim that there was another shooter atop of a water tower, adding to the chaos. Did you guys know anything about this other shooter on top of the water tower that nobody's talking about? Everyone thinks it's just one shooter. Now, there's a lot of people talking about the fact that there was more than one shooter. The FBI's investigation seems to be hitting dead ends with a lack of useful information, online footprints, and mysterious absence of ID on Crooks. Let's not forget about former CIA officer John Ramirez's revelations about DNA collection programs, adding a very, let's just call it a sinister twist to the unfolding drama. We got a lot to talk about today, guys. If you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video. When you do, just lets YouTube know that, hey, we need to get this information out to more people who want to hear about the truth. If you haven't already, also consider subscribing to the channel And if you are subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. I can't tell you how many times people tell me, "Hey, Ron, I got unsubscribed from your channel. I don't know why." So anyway, that's your heads up. So what's going on, Linda Bone? What's going on, Fred Finesteel? John Martineau? What's going on, Trump and Vance 2024? All right. Republican demands for answers. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Conway is set to subpoena Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle to uncover the truth. As more questions rise, the pressure is on to understand what really happened. In a very jaw-dropping turn of events, has been revealed that Tucker Carlson personally intervened in Donald Trump's decision-making for his 2024 running mate, urging him to pick J.D. Vance or face consequences from the deep state. Now, according to New York Times reports, Donald Trump's selection of J.D. Vance was marred by intense lobbying and last-minute uncertainty. The chaos mirrored the 2016 VP pick of Mike Pence, but was reportedly even more frenzied. Powerful figures, we're talking the likes of Rupert Murdoch and his allies, launched a full-scale campaign against Vance. Executives and columnists from the New York Post were dispatched to sway Donald Trump away from J.D. Vance, pushing instead for North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Even Kellyanne, Conway, and hedge fund billionaire Ken Griffin weighed in on this thing, suggesting alternative candidates like Senator Marco Rubio. But on the flip side, though, influential supporters of Vance, including Elon Musk and Donald Trump Jr., rallied behind him. Elon Musk described a Trump-Vance pairing as beautiful, while Donald Trump Jr. passionately advocated for Vance both publicly and privately. Now, the most sensational revelation actually came from Tucker Carlson, who, while on a speaking tour in Australia, phoned into Donald Trump with a stark warning. Tucker Carlson claimed that choosing a neocon like Rubio or Burgum would lead the United States intelligence agencies to have every incentive to assassinate Donald Trump to get their preferred president. Now that's scary, guys. That is a stark, scary warning. Tucker Carlson's dramatic intervention underscored the high stakes and intense drama behind Donald Trump's VP selection. On Sunday afternoon, First Lady Jill Biden and former First Lady Melania Trump had let's just call it a conversation following a shooting incident at a rally for former President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. The office of the First Lady Jill Biden confirmed that two women spoke after Melania Trump had issued a statement earlier in the day. Melania Trump described the attack on her husband as heinous and emphasized that political games are inferior to love. In response to the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, the New York Police Department, the NYPD, announced that it would increase its presence in New York City. Melania Trump, who has rarely attended public campaigns and events with her husband, is expected to make an appearance at the GOP convention in Wisconsin later this week. Now, the call between Joe Biden and Melania Trump came after President Joe Biden had a phone conversation with Donald Trump on Saturday night. President Joe Biden later shared that he had a good talk, he had a good conversation with his political rival. How many of you guys believe that? Can you picture Joe Biden and Donald Trump actually having a good conversation together? Or is this just political rhetoric? Do you really think that they had a good conversation? I'm serious, guys. Let me know in the comments. Just type in yes if you think Donald Trump and Joe Biden had a good conversation. Type in no if you're not buying it. He said, quote, "I am sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering. We had a short but good conversation," end quote. President Joe Biden, he also mentioned that both he and Joe Biden are keeping that President Joe Biden said that both he and First Lady Jill Biden are keeping Donald Trump and his family in their prayers. I'm looking at the comments right now. We got Heather Johnson, Debbie Weir, Chris Basalera says FJB. Nobody's buying that they actually had a good conversation. All these no's in the comments. Unbelievable, guys. By the way, I hope you guys are doing very well today. If you haven't already, please hit the like button for the video. Happy hump day. It's Wednesday, July 17th. Hope you guys are doing well, 2024. But yeah, so the shooting occurred when a 20-year-old gunman fired shots into a Trump campaign rally on Saturday. One bullet grazed Donald Trump's ear. The shooter, identified by the FBI as Thomas Matthew Crooks from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, targeted the rally from a nearby rooftop. Following the shooting, President Joe Biden's campaign suspended communications on Saturday, but plans to resume them on they were supposed to resume them a couple nights ago. But according to a campaign official who spoke to the papers, this is what they're letting us know. But we're now getting shocking details about the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. In fact, the building in which the shooter was nested in was actually being used by local police as what they're calling a watch post for threats. I'm not kidding, guys. Now, here's the thing. I have been sharing with you guys unconfirmed information from folks who were boots on the ground that were actually on the scene. There were numerous people with cell phones and camera phones that were actually recording that, saying, hey, this guy was not the only shooter. And there were many of you guys who were telling me that the shooter was actually on top of the security center, the security building that the police were in. And it's funny, I shared this before this actually came out through the public news. So it's amazing how much you guys have actually shared before it was like official information coming out by the authorities. But anyway, I appreciate you guys sharing me the details. But again, this was the same building that was used as a vantage point by the shooter. It was also being used by the local police. So literally the guy was on top of the police. And so it's making a lot of people say, hey, were the police in on this thing? I mean, it's a valid question, right? But they were there to scan for possible unfriendlies. I think that a sniper aiming at Donald Trump would definitely qualify as being an unfriendly. Y'all let me know if I'm off base a little bit. It's possible. Now, the only problem was that they were inside the building, not on top of the roof. How do you ignore the rooftop, guys? Really? How are you going to ignore the rooftops? Now, this is just crazy. And this is why, people are saying, hey, heads are going to roll. People are going to lose their jobs. Donald Trump almost lost his life, guys. Now, this story gets even crazier every day, but just kind of wrap your head around that for just a second, right? Now, this is why experts and former snipers are calling out the Secret Service, with some of them contemplating the risk that this may have very well been an inside job. And if you guys think that this may have been an inside job, let me know. Just type in inside job in the comments if you think that this was an inside job. That the shooter wasn't there by chance. Now, I don't know that for a fact, so I can't say. But I do want to know what you guys think about this. He was there. Some people are saying that he was there by design specifically. Now, this was the idea that veteran sniper Dallas Alexander put forward. But if you ask the Secret Service, they would tell you a completely different story. According to the Secret Service, that roof that had a clear view of the former president was not their responsibility. Oh, here we go again, pointing the finger. Oh, hey, that's outside my jurisdiction. That's not my fault. That's not my job. I don't want to hear about what your job is. The freaking president of the United States or possible 2024 presidential candidate may have actually lost his life just a couple of days ago, if not for a force greater than all of us causing him to turn his head just a few degrees that would allow him to only lose part of his ear rather than his entire life. But many experts are already pissed off about this entire idea, because this is a former president of the United States, one that could possibly become the very next president of our country. And yet, guys, the Secret Service doesn't want to be held accountable. And this is why people are upset. This is part of why people are upset. Representative Corey Mills, who also served as a sniper, said that there are things that security is in charge of before an event like this. One of which is the surveillance of the perimeter surrounding the stage, as you have to understand where a threat might come from. You can't just say, oh, well, our job was only up to the first, 100 yards. After that, hey, that's local police. Come on, guys. Don't go for that. To be there before a threat even becomes a danger to the protectee is the job of the Secret Service, guys. Don't let them tell you otherwise. In this case, Donald Trump, which begs the question, How in the heck did local snipers who were inside the building forget about the roof? Come on, guys. This is ABC stuff. Kids who play Call of Duty know better than that. They know that the high ground is always the advantage. Not only that, but it seems that there was a lot of time between the first instance officers were told about the gunman to the first shot being fired. So here's what former Secret Service agents like Tim Miller, Charles Marino, and other folks are saying. I want you guys to take a listen. Take a listen.
This is a colossal failure for the Secret Service.
The Secret Service isn't just responsible for the safety and security of the protectee. They're also there for the safety and the security of the people that are showing up to these events. So this is tragic all around.
Here's what we know about the security gaps that led to the assassination attempt on Trump.
Yeah, look, there he is.
In a video taken by a bystander shortly before the shooting, the gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, could be seen crawling on a roof as people were heard pointing him out.
Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals.
And a witness told the BBC,
the police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle.
But those alerts, if heard by any officers, didn't seem to make it up the chain back to the command center.
That's a massive communication failure. When I was overseeing sites, we would have Secret Service agents right next to police with police radios. If there's something that's going on, boom, everybody knows instantly. Quite frankly, if the detail had known there was an armed person climbing up on a roof, they would have evacuated the president right away, no questions asked.
Beyond that, the Secret Service said it relied on local law enforcement to secure the building that Crooks climbed. Typically, Secret Service and local police operate together in concentric circles. Closest to the principal, in this case Trump, are teams of highly trained Secret Service agents. In the middle perimeter, there's usually a mix of Secret Service and local law enforcement who might cover portions of the motorcade and any pre-event screening. And in the outer perimeter, security largely falls on local law enforcement. In Butler, the building the shooter climbed was technically outside of the rally venue, and the Secret Service didn't sweep it.
It fell through the cracks, which still falls to the Secret Service because it means nobody checked to make sure the plan was in fact implemented correctly.
According to the Butler County Sheriff, right before the shooting, a local officer climbed onto the building and saw Crooks, but dropped to the ground when Crooks aimed his rifle at him. In an interview with ABC News, the Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle said local officials were inside the building when Crooks scaled it, but said,
"The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service."
There are also questions about why counter-sniper teams located behind Trump didn't take out the shooter earlier, even though they appeared to be facing in his direction.
Guys, I call this out so many times. In fact, before, like the moment that this was taking place, I mean, like hours after this took place, I was sharing with you guys like maps showing where the Secret Service snipers were stationed, where the shooter actually attempted to take Donald Trump's life during this assassination attempt, and why there's really no excuse why the Secret Service sniper wasn't aware of the presence of this assailant. Unbelievable. But many people agree with Cheadle. The same message was echoed by Representative James Comer and Andy Harris. Harris took it a step further by saying that Cheadle should tender her resignation if she means what she says. And to add to the fumbles that they've made here, we've now been made aware of some very crucial information, folks. It's reported that local police were inside the very same building that Crooks was on top of. They should be embarrassed of themselves. My question for you is, what in the world were those local police doing inside the building? Now, the first thing that comes to mind is Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts, but I don't want to pass any type of judgment. You guys let me know what you think the police officers were occupied or preoccupied with inside the building to not know. And it was like a cheap building. It was like a cheap warehouse. You're going to tell me you don't hear somebody like laying a heavy aluminum ladder or whatever the ladder was made out of, banging up against the structure of this cheap building. And then think about it. It was like a tin roof or whatever the material was made out of, maybe aluminum or something. When it rains, you hear every droplet of rain. You're going to tell me you don't hear some guy, with his knees and his rifle banging up against the roof, and you question yourself, hey, what's going on up there, guys? What is that noise? You're telling me, come on, guys. Seriously? Seriously? They were inside the building to help spot threats in the crowd, like I said a while ago. But here's the best part, guys. There were 3 snipers already inside the building. You would think that one of these 3 snipers inside the building would think to themselves, hey, if I were a sniper, which I am, where would I be? Maybe I should get on this roof and make sure nobody's up there. So one of the law enforcement officers who were stationed in this building saw the gunman scoping out the roof. Besides that, they saw that he was carrying a rangefinder before disappearing from the site and coming back with a backpack. Now, for those of you guys who might not know, a rangefinder basically tells you like distances. So it's like, sometimes it's like a single eye ocular device. Sometimes it's like a binocular. But basically, you can aim this rangefinder at different points and determine the distances. So don't you think that's a little odd that someone with a rangefinder is at a Donald Trump presidential rally scoping out the place? I'm sorry. This is a major red flag. Major red flag. Candace Owens the other day was talking about how her husband almost got shot by coming up the wrong staircase. He didn't even have anything on him. This guy's got a rangefinder and they're letting him just kind of wander around and it somehow gets a ladder and a rifle on top of where police are stationed and gets multiple shots off. This is why people are like, what in the world? How is this not an inside job? And I can understand why people are thinking that. Now, besides that, they saw that he was carrying a rangefinder before disappearing from the site and coming back with a backpack. What do you think's in the backpack, guys? Come on. Take a wild guess. The officer was also able to take a photo of the shooter and radioed it to his command center. Why aren't these guys able to make decisions on their own? But as we know, not much was done to stop him. Now it's being reported that the shooter was spotted a full 26 minutes before the first shot was fired. In fact, he was spotted twice by cops. Not to mention however many, people I, found out about that had reported this guy before the police did, right? Because the photo that I was talking about earlier was reported at around 5:45 p.m. The shots were first fired around 6 p.m. There's also the unusual online footprint of the shooter. The FBI is kind of telling us that he doesn't have the FBI is kind of telling us that he doesn't have as much that they can use. Even though they've gained access to Crooks' phone, the FBI says that it hasn't helped them investigating this incident. Now you can buy that if you want. But here's something else that we found out though. The shooter did not have an ID on him. So the FBI ran fingerprints and DNA confirmation, which means that the FBI has access to a DNA database. But wait a second, guys. Hold on a second. Hold on. Doesn't that mean that they've collected our DNA? Right? Well, former CIA official John Ramirez says that the CIA would collect DNA overseas by using a vaccination program as a front. Think about that for a second, guys. And the goal was to collect DNA information. Now, I know that this is a little bit of a curveball to this story, but this is what Ramirez is telling us. And here's something else that all of us need to know. It said that there were multiple shooters, with witnesses claiming that one of them was located on top of the water tower, who also had a clear line of sight to the former president, Donald Trump. How many of you guys knew about that one? Now, this means that it's possible that all of these shots that were heard on all these different viral videos. There's so many different viral videos that are found on YouTube and viral videos on TikTok, viral videos on Twitter. This means that it is possible that all of those shots that were heard were not all coming from the roof from where Crooks was. So there may be another assailant still out there. And as a matter of fact, I actually came across an article earlier today that said that there was a suspect identified. Oh man, I hope I didn't lose this article. Goodness gracious. Oh my God. Come on, Ronnie. Basically, if I remember correctly, there was a very suspicious character that was identified outside the RNC with a backpack, and I want to say he had an AK or whatever. Jeez, I cannot find the article right now. I'm sorry, guys. I'll definitely bring it up on a future video. Make sure you guys are subscribed and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Got your notifications on. Anyway, there was another shooter for Donald Trump's next event, or excuse me, suspect. But he had the equipment to pull it off. High ammunition mags on him. Anyway, it's possible another shooter was on top of the watchtower who was also shooting. Now, again, guys, we're basing this off of a story of witnesses who were actually there during the day. The fear now is that the FBI's investigation will turn into a whole lot of nothing. Patriot Rob, thanks so much for the $2 super chat, my brother. What's in your background? What's in my background is literally just some curtains. Y'all want to see? Let me comment down below if you want to see what's behind the curtain. I'll move these curtains. Oh, I'll slide these curtains to the side for you guys. I keep getting comments and questions. What is in my background? It's just these are curtains. If y'all want to see what's behind the curtain, let me know. So the fear now is that the FBI's investigation will turn into a whole lot of nothing. And so, which is why a lot of people are calling for Republicans to get to the bottom of this. As we now know, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is set to subpoena the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle. So basically, we need Kimberly Cheadle to let us know what's actually happening here. Now, although as time goes by, more questions are popping up compared to answers. So, which reminds me of a previous video I did where we talk about how Democrats are seemingly pushing to have President Joe Biden removed as their presidential nominee before the DNC. So, make sure you guys check that out. As always, I also want to thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, please hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you. You guys are awesome. And as promised, can you see out the window? All right. Anyway, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video because we got to get the truth out here, folks. We got to get down to the bottom of this, and I will see you on the next one. What's up, John Lighton? I see you, brother. Take care, guys.